everybody, it's Becky from Harpstrings and Wings, and today I'm going to be updating you on my Autoimmune Paleo diet and the different changes and the exciting news I have, and also to talk about a little bit about healing beliefs. So stay tuned. First of all, exciting news. Egg. Oh, beautiful egg. I can now eat these eggs because I tolerate them. I reintroduced them using the method talked about in the paleo approach. And yeah, I tried yolks first and tolerated them very well. And I waited a couple days, and then I tried whites and did very well with those. And so I'm excited to say these will be making a comeback into my diet, which I'm really excited about because I can bake with them and I can have them for breakfast. And I feel like it opened up a whole new world now that I can have an egg. Get a little excited when after, eliminating so many foods, you're just like, yes, egg, thank you. Okay. Oh, chocolate, I miss you. Chocolate, I miss you. I miss you, chocolate. Can I have you? Oh gosh. This is torture, putting this away. Can't have this yet. But that was torture. I don't know why I brought that in. That was hard. All right, so moving right along. The Paleo Approach Cookbook, I just picked this up and you can see I've flagged it for all the recipes that I think will best meet my dietary needs. And I like this because she included a low FODMAP list. And she includes just a lot more information that supplements or complements her other book. And yeah, the negative thing if I had to pick one thing, is just my personal taste. Like, she has a whole section on offal. I think that's how you say it, OFFAL. And it's all those parts of an animal that I'm just not too thrilled about eating. Liver was my hardest. Like, as a kid, I hated it. I used to throw it under the table because I hated it so bad. But yeah, I don't know if I'll be venturing so far into that. I can cut it up and like take a liver pill, which is like freezing a little piece of it and then just popping it and swallowing it so you're not even tasting it. I've also been able to hide it a little bit in chicken soup when I cook a whole chicken and cook up all the other little parts with it. If I can like cut it small enough, I can hide it. But otherwise, I'm not really going to venture into the different cuts of meat. I can't. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but I was vegetarian for like a year. So yes, I don't think I'll be venturing too much into the offal category. But who knows? I mean, I might try something down the line and be like, hey, this is not so bad. But I don't know. Right now, I'm just like, ooh. Okay, some other news is that I actually had a food reaction to a food I knew gave me issues before, and it was cauliflower. And yeah, so I had it. I made like cauliflower rice, which was really good. It tasted amazing. I made it like roasted, which makes it so much more like tolerable in my opinion as a rice, gives it more flavor. But anyway, back to that point, I had it, and then the next few days I just felt awful. Like everything that people describe as being like a food reaction, I felt like I had. I was blocked up. I was lethargic. I just felt like I couldn't concentrate. And yeah, it was just horrible. And I was starting to think, well, maybe I have issues with low sulfur foods. But then, I've been able to do fine with an egg, which has sulfur and that kind of thing. Though I usually eat them fried and maybe that releases the sulfur. I don't know. But yeah, I started looking at a high phenols list or foods with a lot of sulfur. And I was like, yeah, I have reactions to a lot of these foods. But then I started doing a little more digging, and I read her section in there about a low FODMAP diet and being used in conjunction with people diagnosed with IBS, which I do have. And I didn't realize they're now implementing low FODMAP diets for a lot of people who have IBS. So I'm going to go see a gastro doctor, and I am curious to find out if I can have a test done called a hydrogen breath test, and that is done for finding out if you have small intestine bacterial overgrowth, and it's shortened to SIBO is what that means, SIBO. And I suspect I probably have a little bit of that going on. So I want to get the test done for that. And then, you know, maybe hear whatever the doctor or she has to say about my diet and, you know, just going in the right direction, checking in with my doctor, always a good thing to do. So I will update you on that in the future once I get that down the line. It's going to be a while since I have to set up an appointment. So moving right along, I wanted to talk a little bit about these two books, which I featured in my August favorites video. The Biology of Belief by Dr. Bruce Lipton and The Spontaneous Healing of Belief by Gregg Braden. And these, like I said before, these books go hand in hand, talking about this. He is a cell biologist, and he talks about cell biology and epigenetics and how the environment affects the cell. And actually just how like the cell behaves, searching for proteins and that sort of thing drives its behavior, and how having like control over your environment or presenting a certain environment to your cells is going to have them respond. And that's just a beautiful thing to find out, because it was like an aha moment for him when he talked about it, because it was like, wow, I actually can, you know, present my thoughts and my beliefs are going to affect my cells. That's what it comes down to. He talks about the science behind it, which is great, because if you're skeptical or you're just like me, and I really like to learn about the scientific aspects of, you know, like manifestation or law of attraction or that kind of thing, that goes into it. It gives like proof, and I really like reading about that. It's just more tangible for me, I believe. Both of these books they get a little bit into like, okay, so that's great, you know, they're telling us this information. Now how do I apply it? And Gregg Braden goes a little bit into that, which is great, but I wanted to find a little bit more, because you're hitting the subconscious. That's what's happening. You're hitting limiting beliefs that you've had since you were a kid, and you're trying to find a way to like challenge those beliefs. And which is probably part of the reason why we still remain unwell or without the item that we've always wanted to have, or happiness, or issues with our body, or wellness, or whatever your issue may be. How do we get that into our lives? So I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm doing every day and what I think you could do as well. And again, I'm just kind of experimenting and trying it out, and you know, I'll share the results with you, but I'm still like in the process of doing it, but I think it's working. Yeah. So every night and morning, when our brains are still kind of in that sleepy state and the brain waves slow down a little bit, that's a good time for like hypnotic like programming or whatever. And there's lots of, you know, programs and things that exist out there, but something I just wanted to try on my own is manifesting during that time, or visualizing during that time. Excuse me. And using like guided imagery. At night, what I have been doing is I have been focusing and visualizing with music or without music, it doesn't matter, right before I sleep, about, you know, having wellness. Let's use wellness as an example. Instead of thinking, oh, I can't eat this and I can't eat that and I'm having issues with this, I'm visualizing myself happy and cooking in my kitchen and having good reactions to food, and being able to reintroduce certain foods or enjoying like food, and just kind of replacing everything that it seems like in my everyday life has been a struggle with like tolerating certain foods and stuff. So at night I visualize, you know, what I want to have. And that's all great and everything. Sure, everybody knows, I mean, we've heard about that, right? But what the difference that I'm doing is instead of thinking of it and like visualizing with my brain and things like that, because this thing gets in the way, let me tell you, it's like, oh no, you had a reaction to that last week, you know, last month, whatever, you can't have that, or oh no, that's not allowed, or, you know, just like, oh, but you've always had issues, or you've always had digestive problems. Instead of thinking like that, because this is what this wants to say, I move into my heart. And so this is where we need to start creating, is right here, because your heart always knows what it wants. And it's the big magnet. It's the magnet that is pulling everything to you. And so when I start thinking like that and it's like getting murky and I try to think, oh, but, I think, oh, and. So I'm preparing food that I love. And I feel great after eating it. And see how it builds like that. I've been thinking along those lines, and then just going into some basic visualizations and feelings of how wonderful it's going to feel to have good health, or to have that object I wanted, or that person in my life, or whatever you're manifesting. Okay, so that's great. And I do that at night. But in the morning, I've noticed that when I try to do the same thing, I get back into my dreams and it gets really murky. And then I start like actually not having very much control over what I'm thinking, because I'm still groggy and sleepy. Plus, many of you probably have to get up and go. That's just your lives, right? So in the morning, what I try to do is just take like 30 seconds or whatever, how much time I've got, and just like think about how I want my day to be going along the lines of what I was focusing and visualizing the night before. Seeing myself as, like, if you want to organize something, seeing myself organizing a closet that day, just doing it, seeing it in my mind. And, or how a certain like appointment you want to go during the day, or whatever you want to manifest or to create. And that way it feels like more like you wake up in the morning thinking, oh wow, what can I create today? It's exciting. It really is. It actually, makes the mornings a little better because I am a big grump. I'm a big grump. If I don't get my sleep, and waking up in the morning is like, I'm a totally different person. But this has been working. And I've noticed that the weirdest little things that I'll think about, I'll manifest very quickly. And yet the big things that I'm trying to create in my life, like for instance, I really, really want to have and own a pedal harp so that I can learn how to play a pedal harp, and it just opens up a range of music to me that I want to play. And but they are around $10,000 or up, and and we don't even have a car big enough to like hold the thing, So that is something that there's some limiting beliefs in there. It's tied to another thing that I have to get or whatever. So that one's a little more tricky that I'm working on, but I'm still working at it. I'm still visualizing myself playing the harp, feeling it. My heart knows that that's what it wants to grow with my music. So just go with that, I want to incorporate these beliefs with my health. And I think that that's what all these programs and diets and things like that, they're kind of missing that aspect. If you think about it, they're like, if you do this, you create a healthier environment for your cells because you're eating better. And your cells are responding to that. And then your belief kind of like hops on that and it goes, oh yeah, we're feeling pretty good, So belief then goes hand in hand with eating well or exercising or those kinds of things. So yeah, but it's missing the aspect of that we have the control over our thoughts and belief about health. And that is truly where the power lies, right? Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.